Here we're at Dirty Harry's Paintball, and tonight we're going to be doing a review on the Ego 11. This is a marker that I bought from a friend of mine. It was already used, but it was still in good shape. So I thought I'd just give you guys an overview of what I think of this gun, its positives and negatives. So first off, it comes in this nice case, good zipper case. It's hard body, so some people like that, some people don't. I actually like soft cases a little better, especially because when you have hard cases that get dented and beaten to crap on, like my daughter, she jumped on top of it and she dented the hell out of it. But, at the end of the day, it does a nice case to hold your marker in. So when you first open it up, it has these slots here to hold your barrel backs and your barrel front. It does actually come with a really, really good manual, which a lot of guns are lacking nowadays. So here's the gun itself. It has a pops on-off ASA. It's one of the best ones on the market. Very, very simple. Macro line going up to your reg. Has a high pressure reg, low pressure reg. It has a nice little bolt here. Super easy to remove. Take it out, clean it, put it right back in. This is like what I call like the lazy man speedball gun. When you finish using it at the end of the day, you clean up a little bit, throw it in here. You don't have to even touch it. I mean, next time you go out to the field, it'll be working perfectly every time. Occasionally, you have to take it out and take off the Zipper rammer, which is at the back here. Super simple to take it out. Allen key, unscrew this, pops right out. A little bit of oil on there, put it back in, you're done. The trigger itself has 4 points of adjustment, so it's really easy to adjust it. You can just rock on this trigger. One of the negatives of the gun, I find, is that it is loud. When it's up here and you're shooting, it's just like a little jackhammer right by your ear. I mean, compared to other guns, it's not really loud, but just, I'm used to shooting like the Lux or something like that, which is like whisper quiet. But, for what you get for the gun, it is a hell of a nice gun. With the Regulator, once every, 2 months, so you gotta take the reg apart. Really, really easy. You just take out your macro line, unscrew this off of here. There it is here. You pop that out. Here's your piston, your spring. A little bit of lube on here, not oil. You want to lube this O-ring. This comes out like this. This simply comes off like this. And then there's actually some serviceable O-rings in here. You'll find that your gun occasionally, what I find happens after a lot of use is that it'll leak out of my regular little hole right here when it's supercharged. It'll leak out of here because the reg's supercharging. So you gotta take it apart and you take this out of here. And there's a little O-ring in here you gotta service. And maybe now that I'm doing this, I'll show you guys, because it's actually really easy to overlook, and you think your gun's a piece of crap, it's not shooting right, and really it just needs a little bit of lube. Simply take your Allen key in here, put it in your reg adjustment. You gotta take this and you just screw it all the way in. And it comes out of here. And here it is. So you have a couple O-rings here, but that's not the one that really causes you trouble. It's going to be hard for you guys to see this one. It's hard for me to even see it the best of times. Here's your piston reg seat, by the way, so you want to make sure that's in good shape. But the O-ring that we're talking about is right in here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's right in the center of here. To get it out, I have to use the O-ring pick. And I get the O-ring pick, I pick it out of here, pull it out, inspect it, and if it's any way, shape, or form you think it's damaged or a little bit too soft, it'll get really spongy, it feels like, chuck it and put a new one in. And you get a couple here to replace it with. And when you're putting lube on it, you can use the lube they give you, but actually, funny enough, I find what works a lot better is a really cheap lube called hater sauce. It's really gummy, really sticky, but it works really well, because by the time you actually get that O-ring back in here, you've rubbed off half the lube, it feels like. So I pre-lube it, I put it back in, then I'll get a Q-tip with some of the hater sauce on it, and I'll put it in there, and I'll put it back together again. and then you're good to go for, you know, another 2 months or so. And when I say 2 months, I mean I'm practicing, you know, at least once a week, going through case and a half a week. So, you know, you're looking at 8-10 cases you should to do it. And to put it back in, just drop this back in here like this. A little bit of pressure on it like this. Get this. I'm going to bring this back in like this and screw it back in. So what I do is I bring it all the way back till it's flush at the back side. So now it's flush at the back side, and I'll just bring it in 1, 2 turns in. Okay, and that'll get me about 280 FPS. I'll chrono it, but that's just a good starting point right here. And to put it all back together again, very simple. Let's say, you know, once you take it apart a couple of times, you can easily take this apart at the field and service it. It's really easy to do. So now the LPR, you never usually have to touch it. I mean, if you do touch it, you know, and if your gun's working well and you do touch it, well, you know, do so at your own peril. It's set at the factory really well. It's set in at, they say, 2 turns in from flush. So it's right here, and you just bring it all the way flush to the outside. You just turn it back in 2 turns. I mean, not really exact science. I mean, I know Bob Longs, they have these testers so you actually get the actual proper pressure on it, but they don't do that with the Eagles. No pressure tester. So 2 turns in, and you have to adjust a little bit. Very, very small adjustments on the LPR. It's really simple to maintain too, though. I mean, you never really have to do much with it. Just take this off, same sort of thing here. Pull this out of here, and there's a bit of lube you got to put on there, and you put it back in. As I say, I never really fool with it. When I first got it, I did play with it, and it cost me a bit of trouble. I was a little frustrated with it, and then I just went back to the basics, put it in 2 turns in from flush, and lo and behold, it worked like a charm again. Now, as for upgrades with this, you know, it does come with an OLED board. And it has all the settings on here. Really, really simple to set the gun up and get it to work. You know, there's really not much to it. It's a standard OLED board. Terminate lock in here. You know, all the basics of what you need from OLED board. So that is your Eagle 11 in a nutshell. It's really simple. I mean, here's your eyes. See that little dot coming on there? So there's a ball in the breech. It's got 3 buttons here to use. You can push this one here. That turns the eyes on and off. So if you're in the game and like your eyes are dirty, you actually literally just push this down, hold it. Eyes are off now. It'll just fire, right? Eyes are back on. So super simple. Turn it off or go into settings, you hold the middle button down. Now if you push it again, it'll turn it off. Or you can go into all your settings, like your game timer setting, shot count, training mode. That's super handy actually. Your hardware, filters, BS off. I mean, it's got everything on here that you would expect to have for a really good marker. Like this is one of the higher end markers. So I showed you the HPR reg and the LPR, low pressure reg. What else makes up this gun, of course, is the bolt, like we said. It just comes out like this. And also the Zic rammer, the rammer that actually runs the bolt back and forth. So to take it out, I'll just do it for you guys. Your Allen key back here. That's tight. Crank it out. Little bit of oil on here. So this, never ever use grease on here, ever. Only oil. Take it out like that. Oops. and you want to oil this O-ring here and these two O-rings back here. This is just a shock absorber here. But yeah, never ever use grease on here or you will have huge problems with your gun. And to put it back in, literally, you just take it in. This little slot part goes in first. You just drop it in like that. Push it in. Get your back cap. Get back on. And actually, this is silly. A lot of people know this already, but I'm going to show you because if you don't know it, I've seen people go to the field and they're like, what's wrong with my gun? The bolt keeps flying out. Well, when you're putting the bolt back in, you have to make sure that this pin here just dropped into that Zick rammer that had that little notch I say at the front. So in the front, this little notch that this bolt falls into, and that's what actually drives this bolt back and forth. So if you miss it and you put it in front of it, it'll smash it forward, but it won't bring it back, right? So you have to make sure it's lined up. It's an easy way to tell if you got it in right. You just put the bolt in. You line it up. There's a little dot on front of the bolt actually, right here. There's a little dot in the front of the bolt. Got that there and there?
Yep.
Okay. So the dot in the front of the bolt you line up to being right at the front, just so you can just barely see at the front of the slot. So here it is here, and then you push it down. Okay, and now you want to, it's not in yet, see? Oop. So now, is it in? So the way you check is you push your bolt forward and see it hasn't quite hit the front. It can go a little bit more. Push it and it springs. It should spring back. Now you know that it's in your Zick rammer properly. That is really important. Okay, and now for the eyes, take the eyes out. You got a couple Allen keys here you gotta do, and it simply takes out your eye covers. Which, you know, if you're chopping some paint, your eyes get dirty, you're going to want to do that. Nothing worse than having your eyes dirty. And it's a really small Allen key. There it is. So yeah, let's take this out like this. This actually slides in a little bit behind your grip frame. So sometimes it's easier if you take off your grip frame before you do this, but you don't have to. Because it slides right out like that, see? And here are your eyes, right here. So let's give it a little wipe. Put it back in so it's nice and tight in there. This back in here like that. It sits in. See, in this, actually I have these Loctited in. Just some blue Loctite if you wish, so they don't loosen off. Don't never use red or else you'll never get to off again. And you just put it back in here, and your eyes are clean. So like, super easy maintenance. Oh, shaft barrel. This is cool. So it has reverse thread. So I always get it wrong. Okay, and here's a little O-ring here so you don't over tighten it. And it just goes in here like normal barrel would. And you're good to go. So this has been like my son Joshua's main marker for a good year or so. So I'm going to bring him in here and he can tell you what he thinks about it. Josh, you want to come over here? Alright, so this is my son Josh. So Josh, what's your opinion of the Eagle 11?
Oh, it's a great gun. I used it for a season. The one thing about it is it has the LPR right here. Some people don't like how it feels. I'm fine with it really. I just got used to it. Yeah, I love the OLED board. It's really nice. I mean, who doesn't really love an OLED board though?
That one's really simple to use though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
So challenges with the gun. Did you find, especially when we first got it, when we were going to different fields, remember? And some fields like 280 FPS, some were 300. How was it changing the velocity?
It's very fidgety. It really just has a sweet spot, and if you really kind of move it, it'll just go all over the place.
Yeah, like what it means is too, like, I mean, with this gun, you know, for the reg, you back that reg's going to increase your pressure, and it would then of course increase your FPS. But we found that if you went and tried to back your air too much, you would actually go past a sweet spot of the reg, and your foot per second would be dropping, your velocity would be going down, even though you're giving more pressure air to the gun. So what we found is that, you know, basically 1 3/4 turns in from flush, you couldn't get it to go much higher than that, and that would though give us, you know, 310 FPS. So if you just missed that by even 1/8 of a turn, you'd be like in nowhere land going, what the hell is going on? But once we solved that puzzle, it was pretty easy for us, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How about consistency? Like what kind of consistency of shots were you getting?
Pretty good consistency.
Like plus minus what?
5.
Yeah, plus minus 5 was pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, when we did some good, you know, underboring, we'd be getting like 290 to 300, right around there. You know, 295 being the average. So it was pretty nice. Now, you had an upgrade on there, didn't you? What did you upgrade in that gun?
I got the bolt.
What kind of bolt did you get? It was the dart.
The dart one.
Yeah, it was a dart bolt. So this is a dart bolt. It has a little bit of weight in the backside, has a little more milling on it, a few different things. It's also got a softer tip on it, so that it doesn't chop as many balls, supposedly. Did you notice a big difference when we put the dart bolt in?
I did. I mean,
What did you find the biggest difference you noticed?
there was less chopping.
Less chopping, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you find, I remember we talked about that, you said it was a little bit smoother.
Yeah, it was.
You know, was it worth it buying the dart bolt? Did you really need it?
I think it was pretty good.
It was probably worth it for you because you have to pay for it. I paid for it. You know, at the end of the day,
Any upgrade's good when you don't have to pay for it.
yeah. At the end of the day, is the dart bolt needed to get the full use of the Eagle? No, I would say not.
Yeah.
It is a nice bonus to have, though. You know, no doubt.
Yeah.
As for efficiency on air too, it's really efficient on air. For,
Oh,
you know, it's a pop-it, so quite efficient. Anything else you want to bring up on that gun? How about the trigger? What do you think of the trigger?
Oh, the trigger's very nice. I can roll it pretty fast. There's a few different settings you can put it to.
So you said that you know this used to be your main gun. What's your main gun now?
Bob Long G6R.
So why'd you change up?
I like how it felt better in my hands because, you know, it's really what it all comes down to, what it feels like in your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was about it, though.
Oh, the trigger was better.
So what are the negatives of the gun? I think is what.
The negatives about the gun. Maybe.
The ego, of course.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it was a pretty good gun. Maybe it was a little bit hard to shoot in the cold sometimes. It got a little bit
yeah.
choppy in the cold.
That's right.
It was a little bit
hard on
yeah.
paint, like gold. You're right.
Yeah.
You know, another negative I think is that we played a lot of speedball, and speedball communication's the key. And when you were just
It's a little bit loud.
yeah, you're ramping
Yeah,
away
it was
in
like
that.
pop, pop, pop.
You know, we're yelling at you, and you're not listening to or hearing us that well. So
Yeah.
that is a bit of a negative sometimes of it.
Yeah. And then when you try to like move up the field, kind of silent, you try to take a few shots. You know, there was your
Everyone knows where you're at.
positions. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, the feed neck's really nice in it too.
It is.
Yeah. All in all, I mean, I'd give the gun out of 10. I'd give it a solid 8.
Yeah.
You know, a solid 8. Especially if you're just looking for, I mean, for a backup marker too. That's our backup gun now. It's phenomenal because it'll just work. Yeah. So thanks for watching. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, you know, just post them up on our Facebook page, Richmond Resurrection. That's the name of our team. Dirty Harry Paintball's YouTube channel. We would like to thank all of our sponsors. Richmond Indoor Paintball, Shock, Ambush, Badlands is an awesome place to get all your paintball supplies. And Inca Paint, some of the best paint you can shoot out there available. Have a good night.